Have you ever looked at a game and thought, that is not for me? That is too intense, too complex, too intimidating. That is exactly how I felt about the Monster Hunter franchise. But then I stumbled into a world that wasn't about brute force. It was about understanding, connection, and honestly, the most beautiful depiction of a utopia that I have ever seen represented in media. And I think that you might love it too. At first glance, Monster Hunter Wilds seems like a game that is all about action. Huge weapons, bigger monsters, and battles that never seem to end. But honestly, at the heart of it, it's a story about community and about stepping into the unknown and learning to coexist with it rather than conquer it. It is a world that is unlike the one you've always known. First and foremost, meet Nata. Nata is a boy whose whole life has been displaced by an attack on his village from a monster known as the White Wraith. Several years after his rescue from the desert, the guild has authorized a journey into the Forbidden Lands, and he's given a chance to return, to find his people, the Keepers. But it isn't a simple journey. It's one that takes him and you deep into the Forbidden Lands, into an untouched world filled with ancient secrets, powerful creatures, and a culture that has survived in, frankly, moderate isolation. And here, you, as a hunter, are not just a warrior. You're here as a guide and a protector. And this is where Monster Hunter Wilds does something that I have rarely seen in a game, or in any kind of media. Monster Hunter Wilds doesn't just build a world, they've built a utopia. And it's not a utopia that you might think of where everything is perfect and there's no conflict and everything is good in the world. This is still a game about survival. This is still a story about survival. But survival is built on the foundation of trust, shared wisdom, and balance. It is a place where people aren't fighting each other or nature as a first instinct. The first instinct is to listen and watch and understand. It's about learning and protecting each other, especially for the people of the Forbidden Lands. They're not warriors, at least not in the way that the hunters are. Their strength comes from knowledge of their ancestors and their culture and their land, understanding the seasons and what happens before and after, and how to defend themselves in ways that don't utilize weapons because they don't even know what weapons are when you meet them. And this is a way of life that has endured for generations because this is an area that was previously thought to be uninhabited. It survived that way for thousands of years, so these are cultures and traditions that work and don't require to be changed to be able to continue to exist and thrive. And as an outsider into this world, this way of life, you are taking on a duality of being both a student and a teacher, because you are looking for ways to teach them how to better protect their way of life. And you're not there looking to change what they have always known or have always done. You don't show up and give them a bunch of weapons and tell them to go fight the monsters. You protect them and their way of life by giving them context on the monsters that they cohabitate with based on the extensive knowledge and research that's been conducted by the guild. And that leads to being able to coexist more effectively together. And man, somewhere along the way, I just realized that this story was honestly about moving on and growing up and the ways that we heal. And I could go on for a really long time about how interesting it is that Nata's character forms such hatred towards the White Wraith, which we come to learn is called Arkveld.
You're a hunter. You've got a weapon and you do nothing? Give it to me, and I'll...
And the ways that that hatred changes into almost kinship and identity.
Arkveld has become a threat to the continued existence of this ecosystem. It must be put down. No! Please. Please! This is the first thing it ever got to decide for itself. To be free. to live strong.
By maintaining the environment, things that threaten the ecosystem have to be removed in order for life to continue. And that's really the only time that the hunters are tasked with specifically killing the monsters. And so Nata has this really fantastical story and experience where he has a new look on what it means to live and exist.
You chose a path that we never could.
Tashin, we can choose. Arkveld chose too. It found its own way to live. And now, it's time for the Keepers to step away from duty and truly live.
And then I also discovered that I have beef with Nata's uncle, because who in their right mind leaves a world-altering decision to a child to make? Anyway, I digress. To bring it all back, for so long I thought that Monster Hunter was just about the hunt, about slaying massive creatures. And even after I had played Monster Hunter World, I felt this way. But playing Wilds, this story, this world, it really showed me something different, and I think it showed me more of what Monster Hunter is trying to really be. How do you coexist? How do you work with people, with monsters, with the environment? Because this isn't a world where survival equates to domination. It's about harmony.
Yes, harmony, good word.
And suddenly Monster Hunter wasn't what I thought it was at all. It wasn't a game that I had to fight my way through, or that I really only enjoyed playing because I was playing with my partner, but it turned into a world that I wanted to be a part of. So what do you think? Have you ever felt like a game wasn't for you, but you were pleasantly surprised? Or maybe you've always been curious about Monster Hunter and never really knew where to start? I would just love to hear your thoughts. And if you want another video exploring the world of Monster Hunter, I have one on Monster Hunter World that I will link in the description below. But thank you so much for spending some time with me today. If you love stories and the worlds that make them special, stick around. I'd love to share more with you. And if you want to keep exploring, I've got another cozy world to show you right here. Nope, I think it is over here, right here.